Hi guys, this is a Forfeit Minds trilogy of work, rest and play. We're 4 professional people who have got a vested interest in health and well-being, sorry.
Wealth, yeah.
Be nice.
And we're going to kick off with, who's going to go first with work?
That would be me. Right, okay, so I just now need to share my screen. Can you all see that?
Yep.
Yep.
Right, okie doke. Come on. Okay, so first question, what does work mean to you? So I'm going to add that, put that out there to, well, Colin, you started off first, so you may as well start off first on this one.
Work means progress. It means building a better future, building a more of a better life for me and family, and it means that I can afford the things that I want to buy and things that I want to do. It gives me freedom.
Good answer. Okay, Nigel.
Work in terms of relation to probably the image I can see on the screen, rather than anything in terms of like the gym and work ethic and things like that, but more sort of what I see on the screen and what most people would interpret as work is your 9 to 5 or the equivalent. For me is something I've always tried to make something I would enjoy rather than something that's just a necessity. So for work, for me, it's always been something that I've tried to chop and change and experimented with what's going to provide me with happiness, as well as obviously the revenue and the money needed to obviously fund the nicer things in life, fund obviously me and my family. So it just means, that I suppose it's the vehicle that gets me to where I want to be in life in terms of the things I would want financially, but also is something that I've pushed to make as enjoyable as I can, and something that I actually feel is quite fulfilling.
Okay. Kath, what about you?
I guess work to me means a lot of different things. I see the word work as meaning anything that I do to contribute to my society and social group. So even if that is doing housework, you know, I'm contributing to keeping my house upkeep, you know, right, so that my friends and family have got somewhere to come and my home's good, whatever. So if it's gardening, it's, you know, just keeping it so that my neighbours don't complain that my garden's a mess. So any work that I do is like my contribution to this life that we're living. That's what work means to me. So it, as well as the job that I do and the company that I run and everything else, it's just everything else that I do to contribute.
Okay, thank you. Right, and then I'll just quickly answer that. So it used to be my everything. It was my live, my breathe, and then I had live, and that whole dynamic altered. So now it's the sum, the parts that make, I suppose it's a portion of my wholeness, if you like. It's what funds my lifestyle, what makes us be able to go off on holiday and things like that. But it's also the balance to my play. I need the equal balance of that, and I have, and that's where it sort of, whereas before it used to always be sort of all work. I loved it, I lived it, I breathed it. Oh God, can't do such and such because I've got work. Whereas now it's making that between the two. So it's the opposite. It's sort of the yin to my play being the yang, if you like.
Yeah.
Okay. Question 2. Would you say you have a good work-life balance? So if so, how do you maintain it? Right, I'm going to throw this out to Kath first.
Oh gosh. Right now, no. In all honesty, right now, as we know, 2020 has removed a lot of our opportunities to go out and do things in our leisure time. So I know for definite that this year I like to be active. I don't sit and watch TV. I don't put my TV on. So so I guess not having places to go has meant that I've got a lot more time on my hands. So in order to not go crazy, I've invested more time in work and catching up with things at home that probably I would normally leave at the office. So I know right now I don't have a good work-life balance, and that's really purely just due to the state of the world right now. But generally, I guess because I'm aware of that, when I do get the opportunity to have downtime and redress that balance a little bit, I take it.
Okay.
I go
Nigel,
out
over to you.
Yeah, so just a couple of things there. Like the work-life balance is definitely more complicated for me being self-employed than it ever has been. The time when I was in the military and I could switch off, the time when I had a job prior to that, I could always switch off. When I became self-employed and had my own business, obviously it bleeds. It has to bleed in, and therefore when I invested in business mentors, and one of them said, "There's no such thing as balance," and I was like, "Well, there is," and he went, "No, there isn't." He says it's a spectrum. So there's times when you might work more than you need to because it's your business, and then you might sacrifice time with your family, with your kids. And that was always something that I always struggled with, because it wasn't always 9 to 5. It was, my job never is 9 to 5. You know, probably 9 to 5 is when I'm my quietest, because classes and when I'm needed the most is evenings, mornings, and a couple of daytime sessions. So I have sacrificed many of the personal life to grow my business. Now I can take a little bit more of a back seat. So I've got more balance than I ever have done. But at the time, it wasn't. It was a spectrum where I had to invest more time into my work to create that balance long term. How do I sustain it is the question. How do you maintain it?
How do you maintain it?
Yeah. So I'm just super aware of it. I've created a lifestyle that is probably near enough better than what I ever wanted, in terms of money, time, family, you know, and all that, what it brings. But it came at a cost initially. Like, I was grafting my backside off, working as an individual, as a businessman, growing my business. How I maintain it now is just keeping that at the forefront of my mind. If I ever feel like I'm regressing back to that, and I feel like I'm pulling away from what I value in life, then I'm just super aware of it. And I know how to action it, and I know how to control it, and I don't let my legs come from underneath me.
Yeah. Okay. Good answer. Right, I'm going to go next. So, I do now probably more than I've ever, and just purely because for the last few years I've been in a relationship. Before I was with my partner, it was just me and Liv. So of course, when she was young, she'd go to bed. What will I do? I'm in the house. Right. Okay. I'll just finish some work off. So I was very much like that, especially, I mean, I work predominantly finance. So at month end, at year end, it was always a busy time. And whilst we've been in lockdown, the first lockdown where I was solely here at home, that was hard, because as much as I was getting, and I was trying to balance it, because I was in the place where I was doing the work, I'd sort of break off, check that Liv's schoolwork was all right, and then it'd be meal times and things like that. And then I'd go back, and then if I wasn't seeing my partner, I'd be like, oh, I'll finish that. And before I knew it, it was probably 10 o'clock at night. So my work-life balance at the start of lockdown was horrific. Whereas now, I'm trying to not feel guilty for sitting down and not doing anything. And that's my biggest thing, because I'm always used to being 100 miles an hour at everything when I do sit down. But I am getting better of it, and I've started watching box sets, and I've started reading books again, which I didn't do. So I am getting there. At the minute, this week for me is my month end and year end, so it's crazy time. So this is probably the worst week to use as a comparison. But yeah, on the whole, I do tend to.
You're very aware.
Yeah, I am aware of it now, and I think since having Liv, I'm aware that she needs to have as much, if not more, time of that. So, because it's precious moments I won't get back, and that's that. Okay, Colin, best till last.
So, in terms of work-life balance, it's very blurred. Having started a charity and running the charity and the charity is growing, it's a case of kind of the work and the life have become one. So constantly researching, constantly thinking, constantly, you know, even if I'm walking down the street, for example, I'm still thinking of, you know, what could I do to you know, start this off, or what can I do to kind of get people involved in this, so that it's always on your mind, you know, things that you can do. And especially during this time where it's even more difficult, probably the worst time to start a charity. And it's a case of, you know, you're always thinking of how can I get through this during this time, never mind any other time. So it is very much work rather than life. And like you said, with regards to switching, well, not switching off, but kind of breaking off, it's difficult, and you feel guilty for breaking off because you think, well, you know, should I be doing this? But, you know, I need to kind of have a life as well. So when you sit down and you think, oh gosh, you know, sort of an idea has popped into your mind or whatever, and you think, oh, I need to kind of get that written down, or I need to go on the computer and research that. And then you think to yourself, what am I doing? It's like 8 o'clock at night, you know, I should be just relaxing. So for me, there isn't really a work-life balance. It's all kind of, it's constantly going off, whether it's in the background or whether I'm actually at the computer doing something. And so, yeah, it's a difficult one for me. So I don't maintain it. It's just constant.
Okay, thank you. Right, and the last question coming up on this one. I can't see what my question is. Right, do you know when to switch off from work, and what do you do to help? I'm going to throw that one out to Nigel first.
I don't feel like I need to switch off from work because I don't find it that stressful. But what I do feel, and again, this is not me, this sound like a politician dodging the answer, but it's just having barriers. So the switch is never on or off. It's just having barriers of when I respond to clients. It's having boundaries, and when you say no to stuff. Because I'm self-employed. I'm my own boss, but it's just having those boundaries. So it's never really on and off. I'll give you one example. When I went away to Turkey this year, when Claire were having her nashes done, and Louise said, "Go away, and I don't want to hear from you." I like, that's never going to happen. And I said to her, Lou, it ain't work. When I check in on you and I check in with my clients, I don't feel like I'm at work.
No,
I want to go in the Facebook group and do a live and talk. You know, that's not stressing me out. That's not causing me angst. That's work. That's that, and I enjoy that, and that's why I said about the work. If I can create a work-life balance, that doesn't mean no. There's nothing wrong with if I'm spending time with Daisy and then a client rings me. I can choose to answer that client, wherever I want to or not. So the switch is not really a switch. It's more a barrier. And what do you do to help with that? I think I've just created the right environment for that to be the case. You know, I could have easily created something where it wasn't, or gone to the 9 to 5, where it's easy to do that, and you're in and out, you clock in, you clock out. Whereas obviously I can't be like that, but I'm accepting of that, and I deal with it, and I just have barriers.
Okay, right. I'm going to go next now because I've got an answer popped in my head, so I thought I'll strike while the iron's hot. Right, I do now. At the start of my new role, the business I'm in, I've been there 3 years, but my role changed probably about 18 months ago. And Nigel will remember me coming to class and be answering emails at 6 o'clock in the morning because we're a 24-hour business. And sometimes I'd get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe to pop to the loo. And if my phone lit up, I'm like, oh, I can answer that question because I know that question, because otherwise I'd get back into bed and think, and I'd know it'd be on my mind. Well, I can answer that. I know that. So I wasn't very good at switching off because the 24-hour business, I've been in a manufacturing industry before where it pretty much was, we might have had sort of overtime till maybe 6, 7 o'clock, but it was pretty much, daytime hours. So then to go to an industry that becomes 24 hours, I feel that I'm not performing right if I'm not answering 24 hours. So that's why it was hard for me to get into that and get away from that. And I think, hang on a minute, I don't need to, because it doesn't need to be me answering, because it'll be the shift supervisor who's on at that time. And I've pulled away from that. So, and that's better. So I am getting better at doing that. And if there's things that come through on an email that don't really need it, then I don't. And I'm getting better at switching that off and sort of chilling out. And the thing is, the worst thing I can do is get on emails before I'm going to go to bed, because I know I'm not going to unwind and I'm going to be thinking about them. So I now try and especially if Dave's here, I try and we watch telly and we just chill out, no sort of things that are filling your head or things like that, and certainly away from downtime as much if I can, sort of stop looking at my Instagram or Facebook or what everybody's posted and just try and, so that's what I do to maintain it. So the next one to Colin, I think. Yeah, we'll go with Colin.
So I do know when to switch off. The problem is I don't switch off. I find it really difficult to switch off because I just feel like I need to capture that moment. Like you said, Jane, when an email comes through and you know the answer to it, you just want to answer that or sort that out there and then. Because once you've lost that moment, it's kind of like you feel either guilty or you feel restless. So yeah, I do know when to switch off, but I just can't. It just feels like I've got to sort of answer, or I've got to research, or I've got to do something, and then that's it. I'm happy with that. So what do you do?
What do you do to help?
Oh yeah, what do I do to help? I just have to take myself out, kind of either go for a walk, previously go to the gym, or just do something totally different, go shopping or go and visit someone, and just take myself out of that environment, out of that situation. Obviously it's a bit difficult when it comes to nighttime, but you just gotta, I don't know, like you say, watch TV or listen to music or something totally different that helps you to unwind. So,
okay, and sorry. And then over to Kath.
Okay, so do I know when to switch off? I don't always switch off when I should, and I think we've all already said it really, that when you've got things that need to get done, it is sometimes that it's better to get them done, because if not, you're just sitting there thinking that they need to be done. So I guess I'm influenced by the work that I do, because owning a care company, I have 15, 20 staff that are out there in community working. And whilst ever they're out there, I can't switch off, because anything could happen. A client could die, and I need to be there to support my staff. So I guess whilst ever my staff are out working, I don't find it easy to switch off, because I want to always be there for them. So I know that come 8 o'clock at night, when all their care is done and they've gone home, that's when I know that I can sort of wind down a little bit. And also just times like bank holidays, when we don't provide any services, that's when I can really completely switch off. But the rest of the time, I probably don't switch off, or don't know to switch off as much as I should. But to switch off, I use music, the gym, just anything really that puts me in a nice frame of mind. Be that just to relax in a nice bath, anything just to take me away from thoughts about work for a while, so that I can process and think about things that have happened and come up with solutions for problems and things like that.
Okay. Right, thank you for that. So that comes to the end of the work section. So thank you guys for your input there.
I'm gonna take the next section in a few minutes, which will be rest, a completely different situation. So thank you. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye.